Thanks, Meg. I'm here at Assumption College, just inches away from the school's pond where Duck Day takes place every year. In order to find out why Assumption dedicates an entire day to its ducks, we spoke to students and staff to see what this day is all about. Duck Day is not just any ordinary day at Assumption College. It was created as a fun event for the community to partake in a day that establishes the spring season. Catherine Woodbrooks is Assumption's VP of Student Affairs. She says Duck Day began as a way to bring the Assumption community together.
I quickly found out that we had a professor, Professor Ken Moynihan in the history department, who would just quietly bring the ducks every spring and then pick them up and bring back to his farm. He and his wife Mary Jo had a lovely farm in the winter and then bring them back again, and everybody enjoyed it so much. And so I got to know him and I thanked him for that, and he mentioned that it would be 20 years that he's been doing this. And I said, 20 years, a 20th anniversary, that would be a lot of fun to celebrate. So at the time I spoke with the director of student activities and talked to a bunch of students, and I said, we should have a Duck Day welcoming the ducks back.
The Duck Day launch in 2004 was a success. It's grown over the years due to an effort to better market the day to students.
The Director of Student Activities orders hats for the local children. They contact the principals, they tell them the date. We make arrangements for music, or he makes arrangements for music. The Student Government Association gets excited about it. The Vice President for Student Affairs of Student Government works as the main liaison.
Because Duck Day has become such a success since its first year, staff from the Assumption Library published a children's book titled Joey's First Duck Day. Barry Mooney was one of the members of the committee that made this book possible.
Joey's First Duck Day, we wanted to incorporate something that was relevant for the entire campus, that students would be interested in, and it also coincided that Duck Day was the same exact week as National Library Week. It was really popular that first year because the students felt involved.
Due to the popularity of the book, a limited number of copies remain.
At this time, they're sold out at the bookstore, and you can only get them here at the library. And we only have a limited number of copies left.
The children's book expresses the excitement of the main duck, Joey, before he returns to Assumption's pond. However, this year's Duck Day, taking place on April 12th, was one that the attendees will never forget. It started out as planned while students, staff, and nearby Worcester schools gathered around the pond anticipating the arrival of this year's ducks. Hundreds of students were entertained by the music, food, and mascots while waiting for the ducks to be released. Ironically enough, the ducks were the only ones who weren't ready to become acquainted with their new home. The new breed of ducks were not used to their surroundings.
So she brought this new group of ducklings who didn't adjust very well. they were walking back home.
Staff and students were surprised when the ducks started to resist the water, something that had not yet happened in Duck Day history. By the end of the day, there were no ducks to be found in the pond.
I think it's pretty sad that the ducks didn't want to stay in the pond, and I guess they're going to replace them, but it's pretty upsetting to drive by the pond and not see any of the ducks there anymore.
Although some students were discouraged by the absence of the ducks, some were entertained by the outcome.
I spent a lot of time with seniors that day as we were rounding up ducks at various places on campus. They said, this is just the most awesome thing.
Despite confusion, Woodbrooks reassures the Assumption community that the ducks are making their way back into the pond.
Certainly will let students know because they're going to be looking for their ducks, yes.
I'm Melissa Roberto, ACTV.